Hello and welcome to Erzberg. This is the Iron Giant, one of the biggest working mines in Central Europe. It produces over 2 million tonnes of iron ore every year, but for 4 days in spring it closes and it opens its doors to the great and the good of... Oh, a microphone would be handy. Welcome to Erzberg, the Iron Giant. This is one of the biggest mines in Central Europe, and it produces over 2 million tonnes of iron ore every year. Now, for 4 days in spring, it closes its doors and instead opens up to the great and the good of enduro racing. This is the Erzbergrodeo, which climaxes tomorrow with the Red Bull Hare Scramble, one of the toughest one-day enduro races in the world. This is Talking Scramble, though, the show where we get to the bottom of exactly what's been going on this week and what everyone thinks is going to happen tomorrow. And to actually get to the bottom of all of that, we need the greatest, the most courageous racers in the world of endurance motorsport. So we've assembled them. Take a look at this motley crew. On the outside there, we have the one and only Stefan Peter Hansel, the most successful Dakar racer ever. Peter, first impressions of the Iron Giant?
Well, for sure, I never been here before, but I follow the race in the media, and it's really incredible. The place, open place with a step, a big step, and a lot of competitors. So the atmosphere is really good. You know, before I was a biker, so my passion still for the motorcycle, and I feel really good here.
You're at home, aren't you?
Sorry?
You're at home, aren't you?
Yeah. Not completely, but a little bit, yeah.
Amongst friends. Then we've got Matthias Volkner, winner of the Dakar on motorbikes this year. Matthias, how does this compare? You've driven the taxi around here, you've ridden here. How would you compare Dakar to Erzberg?
Yeah, the prologue is not so rough like the Dakar, but I think what the guys doing in the Hare Scramble on Sunday is really, really impressive. And sure, my goal is in the next 5 years maybe. I do also the race in Sunday, but I have to prepare for it.
Okay, and then sat next to Matthias Volkner, we've got Johnny Walker, 3-time winner here, 2 times at Megawatt, 2 times at Romaniacs, once at Hell's Gate, once at the tough one, and then 1 Super Enduro World Championship. It's not a bad roster. You want to add to that this year as well, I'm guessing?
No, yeah, that's it. I haven't actually won a World Championship. Sorry to let you down.
You did. You won Super Enduro,
I won the
didn't you?
Super Pole.
Right,
Pole
okay.
twice. I couldn't put a full race together. But yeah, no, it's amazing to come back here. You know, this is the race that all the extreme enduro riders want to do. You know, it is the biggest race of the year, and we do all the training basically for this one race. It's only 2.5 hours, but you know, it's just on the TV and everything.
It's kind of a big deal, isn't it? And then next to Johnny, we've got Cody Webb. Cody, thank you so much for making the effort to come out here. Difficult crash this morning.
Yeah, you know, it was really upsetting. I had a good run up the prologue yesterday, and, you know, we didn't have to go out today, but, you know, figured I'd go for it just because I want to be a part of it all. And, oh, yep, there she goes. Yeah, almost saved it. I rode it out as long as I could, but, you know, unfortunately I had to take a trip to the hospital and not going to be able to make it to the main race now tomorrow on Sunday.
Do you know what happened?
You know, it gets really rough with so many riders. I mean, 1,800 riders are qualifying Friday. So, you know, I just went out there, and a couple of other riders, I guess, almost went down on that same spot. I actually saw a video of another guy who had a horrendous crash, but apparently he was fine.
Yeah, you can see on that video how well you did to save it.
Yeah, I did everything I could. And, you know, even with my long legs, strong arms, rode it out as long as I could. And unfortunately, I broke my foot, broken finger, got to go home and get my knee checked out, but you know, I love this place, the atmosphere, and I couldn't leave. You know, I got to be here and watch the race tomorrow.
Well, the good news is that Cody's going to be joining Daryl Curtis and Mike Chen in the commentary box tomorrow. That is going to be a real asset.
Yeah, I guess I'll be learning how to commentate a little bit better.
Okay, this show is your show. It's Talking Scramble, and you can join in. You can ask any of these guys questions. You can also make your own predictions for tomorrow's race. The hashtags are Hare Scramble and Erzbergrodeo. So get involved on social media. We'll be reading out the questions as they come in, if they're sensible and not too rude. So get involved, ask us some questions. Now, we're going to take a quick look. Obviously, there's been a big change in the world of enduro this year. We've got WESS, the World Enduro Super Series. 8 events that the Erzbergrodeo and the Hare Scramble are going to be a part of. Let's take a closer look at it.
World Enduro Super Series just got bigger. With Hawkstone Park Enduro being added to the calendar, there will be 8 epic events in 8 different countries. Thousands of riders all competing in changing conditions for one glorious goal, to be named the ultimate Enduro champion.
It's got the biggest high-profile events basically internationally for Enduro, all combined into one series, and basically just trying to find the master of Enduro by the end of the year.
WESS demands excellence in hard enduro, classic enduro, cross-country and beach racing, with different conditions every event.
The Red Bull Hare Scramble, the Erzbergrodeo, is the second round of the World Enduro Super Series. We race in for the championship at the end of the season, so it's all about points. Even if you don't have a great race, you still have to collect points.
Alongside fan favourites like Taddy Blazusiak, who is back from retirement, weekend warriors and amateur riders will take their shot at the WESS title, making this the single most inclusive motorsport series of its kind.
I think this race is going to be the same, and every race through the year, you know, the level is just like this last few years just gone up massive, and everyone's kind of on the same level. So whoever gets a good start tries to get away, you know, the pack's going to be chasing them.
It promises to be a blistering battle for Enduro supremacy.
Well, it's a mouth-watering prospect watching all of the world's best riders battling it out for that title. Good to see that we got plenty of interaction already on the social channels. FASA Racing have come up. They've put it out there to everyone. Do you think you could finish this race? In fact, yeah, do you think you could finish this race on a stock bike?
I'll answer that one.
Yeah, me also.
Yeah. Could you do it on a stock Dakar
No,
bike?
also on a factory one I can finish.
No, yeah, for sure you could. You know, our bikes aren't much different. We just like have a little bit different suspension, but yeah, for sure you could finish on it. It's not massively different. The engines are standard. Our suspension, we run it like we just have our own setup. You know, it's not really much different to stock.
Yeah, it's not like you've got mechanics and pit stops and people actually helping you around. Once you leave the start line, you're on your own. So, you and the bike.
Yeah, I also want to add in, like, our bikes, we don't have stiff suspension or anything special. You know, the stock bikes usually come a little bit soft just for the average rider, and our bikes really aren't that much different. Like Johnny said, it's just personalized, and I think the biggest factor that kind of changed the game of hard enduro was the new rear tires. Everyone's got these special gummy tires, and, you know, luckily now anyone can go and buy one of those, but for hard enduro, I think that's the ultimate ticket.
Okay, Stefan, you know a little bit about crossing over, learning new disciplines. You went seamlessly from bikes to cars in Dakar. We've just seen the WESS series there. How hard do you think it's going to be for riders to change between cross-country, extreme and classic enduro?
I think it will be really complicated because here, for example, you have 2 guys really a specialist of extreme enduro, but next weekend it will be in France, Trèfle Lozérien, only a stage on the grass. No grip, and for these guys I think it will be complicated, but at the end it's a good mix to have a sand race, extreme enduro on classic enduro. It's really good things if you have a good balance between each kind of race.
It's a great prospect, isn't it? The idea of finding the best all-rounder. We can take a look back now as well at the first stop in Portugal. Johnny, decent performance from you, just missed out on the top spot though.
Yeah, it was going good. I had a good first lap. I got a good lead going, and then second lap we got into some lappers, and yeah, I just made too many mistakes behind them, and I couldn't get past them fast enough, and the other riders caught me up, and Billy managed to take the win.
I mean, that brings up a really interesting question. You can see there, Billy Bolt topped the podium. First big win of his career, and that's going to give him some confidence, I'm sure. But you said you got caught up behind a few of the amateurs there. And, of course, that's one of the big parts of the WESS format is that you've got amateurs and privateers racing on the same course as the factory teams.
Yeah, for sure. It's good, you know, like the sport wouldn't be what it was without everyone racing. So you got to respect them, and yeah, it was my own fault. The track was so slippy that it was hard to find different lines. Whereas here, you know, if you got into lappers here, it's so dry and the track's so wide that you could pass. But there, I just couldn't get past, and yeah, they caught me up.
Yeah, this feature in particular in Portugal looked like a real dignity stripper, just sliding down a rock endlessly. Okay, we've got a social question coming in. This is I. Chapman. How does someone get started in this? He means enduro. Matthias, what would you recommend?
What do you mean? That I?
If you wanted to get started in enduro racing, where do you start? If you ride a motorbike on the road, but you wanted to start riding in terrain like this, where would you start?
If you're a big farmer at home behind the house, no, to check where you have some tracks and maybe you have some trainer or some small racing schools, and then that somebody teach you. But to start on Erzberg, I think is not the smartest.
I suppose it does depend massively where you come from, doesn't it? In the UK, you have green laning. What's it like in the States?
You know, it's kind of nice sometimes. I'm from California, and we kind of have like a whole off-road riding park system. So you kind of register your bike and you pay your fees, and you get to ride at these parks if you have a special registration sticker. So that's nice. And then obviously it's known for supercross and motocross in California. So there's plenty of motocross tracks, but it's a little bit more difficult for enduro racing. You know, there's not as many places to ride as, you know, some other parts of America.
Well, one of the places most people start when they make their way over here to the Erzbergrodeo is the rocket ride. It's like the amateurs and, I wouldn't say the privateers, it is mainly amateurs on the hill climb on Friday, and it's an absolute riot. Have any of you boys ever entered this?
I haven't. I've watched it though. It's pretty fun to check it out, to be honest.
Is it a spectator sport for you, Johnny?
Yeah, no, I'd actually really like to do it, but it looks a bit dangerous. Maybe I'll come back in like 10 years when I'm not doing the main race, have some beers and do that one.
Well, that's Ozzy Reisinger, the Austrian guy, winning it for the 4th time in a row. After that, though, I think you might have been there, were you, Stefan? The raid on Eisenerz last night, the parade through town.
Sorry, what?
Did you make it to the raid on Eisenerz, the parade through town?
I'm not sure. Sorry, but I'm not sure if I understand the question.
Did you get stuck into this?
No, not too much. Today we just do some small rocky with a racing car, just to do a show for tomorrow. But I was not on the village.
What's it like, Johnny? You've done it a couple of times, haven't you?
Yeah, last night I went with my girlfriend, took my girlfriend on the back because she's never done it or seen it, and she loved it. You know, it's wild. There's dudes doing burnouts, donuts. I was trying to mix the words together then. And, you know, just doing wheelies and that. It's cool.
Matthias, there's some decent outfits there. And there was someone stood on a sledge at one point, I noticed. There's some brilliant outfits out there.
No, yeah, most of the people who going there, they really getting crazy, and yeah, if you never saw it, you really have to come and check out for it. And you have many, like the animals, how you call it, dinosauria in English?
Yeah, dinosaur.
Yeah, and it looks really, really crazy, and is like carnival.
It embodies the spirit of Erzbergrodeo, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's like 2,000 people. I didn't know that we have so many motorcycle riders in Austria, and everybody have the same passion, and is really cool to see it.
Okay, now it's down to the prologue. That happened Friday morning, and then this morning. Cody, I'm going to let you talk about this a little bit. You've got the experience of it. I mean, what's it like on Friday morning? Is there a bit of pressure for you?
Oh yeah, there's definitely pressure. I mean, first off, everyone wants to be like the top guy, and you know, that's why Walkner's here. He wants to take the prologue win from us all on the big bike. But, you know, he was ripping out there. I don't know if you saw the video. He almost landed off the side of the track. But there's a lot of pressure. You want to be on that front line. And but, you know, sometimes you don't want to risk too much. And, you know, today maybe I laid it on the line a little too hard.
Is that a lesson learned for you? How had you done on Friday?
You know, Friday I qualified top 10, so I didn't even need to ride today, but you know, I love the sport and just wanted to be out there and go for it again, and it bit me pretty hard. But you know, there's 1,800 riders. Some people literally only come for the prologue. Like you see people on mopeds, or like, you know, I saw like a bike from the 40s or something. You know, it's crazy to see, and some people wear crazy outfits and funny outfits, and you know, you got the serious guys who want to come here and win the race, and you just have the hobby guys who just love the atmosphere and having a blast, and maybe they had a couple too many beers the night before, but they're still going to go for it.
Well, one man, Matthias, would you say you sat in the fun camp or in the serious camp?
Serious, of course.
I know that you did, because we've got head cam footage of you here, and we got your first day's head cam footage, and you didn't want us to use it. You wanted the faster run off the second day. Talk us through it. How did it go?
Actually, the first day was more fun to watch because I was here more on the limit. But yesterday was pretty hard for the rally bike because you have not so many ruts and really dry condition, and you feel a lot the weight that it put you out of the corner.
You went on the wall ride there as well, didn't you? At one stage.
One time I go out on the stones, but yeah. Today I was like almost 200%. I was like pushing a lot because I really want to win, but it was not possible. I think somebody was again faster, but yesterday I have many scary moments because it looks like it have much more traction than it was, and normally I get used to it, to this kind of ground, but looks not like. But was really fun and was really cool.
Okay, well that's the finish line. We've got another question come in from Adrian. It's for you, Matthias. Do you think you could use the Dakar bike and actually get through the course here?
Sure, I can use, but I think at checkpoint 2 or 3 is no chance anymore. But Linden Poskit, I think he do it last year. And the riding level maybe is the same. Maybe mine is a little bit higher, but he have the longer leg, so he's almost the same.
You could push it if you wanted to. Stefan, you arrived in style, didn't you, yesterday?
Yes, sorry?
You arrived here at Erzberg in style.
In style?
We can see it on the screen here.
Yes, with helicopter, not yesterday, this morning.
Okay.
No, it was really interesting to see the place from the helicopter, because for me it was the Erzberg. It was a race, go in the forest, a longer race, no stage, just in a very small place, and it was really interesting to see. Yeah.
What's it like actually driving the car around this mine?
This car is not for this kind of track, you know, it's too much narrow here. This is a car for African rally. You need open space, open desert, dunes. But it's, we have a small dune, so it's, but it was cool to drive, but it's not for this place, for sure.
It's a wild looking car, the way it's set up.
The car is like a truck. The size, it's wider like a truck, 250. So 2 meters 50, so it's really big car. On the weight also, we are able to put 400 liters of petrol inside. The weight is it's close to 2,000 kilos, so it's really a big car.
Okay, we're going to see a little bit more of it tomorrow, aren't we?
Yeah, we will see tomorrow what is possible to do. But I'm really interesting because during the Dakar, sometime on the stage, the time is very close to the motorcycle. Some kind of stage the motorcycle is faster, some kind of stage the car is faster. On this year it was the first time that we drove together, we drove together, because we start on the same time, and during 300 kilometers you overtake me 10 times, I overtake him 9 times because he finished first. But it was fun.
Yeah, it was so nice to go in his dust. I enjoy a lot. No, but it was really cool because it was really tricky stage from the navigation. And my goal was just to catch him because he was starting in front. But then in the dunes, I think it's much more easy to go with the bike. Then I go a little bit, but always check if I'm on the good way, more or less. Then on the fast piste, he catch me, and then I follow him to the end. And in the end, I overpass him because I want to go first to the finish. But in the end, he make all the navigation and all the work.
Okay, Stefan, I'm going to put you on the spot here. Predictions for tomorrow. Who do you think can win?
Sorry, guys. Come on. But for me, the choice maybe Teddy. Teddy is really motivated for this race. He won, I think, 4 or 5 times.
5 times.
5 times. And for his comeback, he is really motivated. So also he is really motivated for the whole series, the WESS. So maybe Teddy for me.
Okay, he's going for Taddy. It's definitely the romantics pick, I think. Yeah, 6th victory for Taddy. We'll have to find out if Stefan Peter Hansel's right. I know you're very busy. You're going to leave us now. But we've got our 2 Dakaristas in the studio here. There's also a 3rd Dakarista who our field reporter, Katie Osborne's been talking to.
One of the most impressive women in motorsports, Laia Sanz. You are here this weekend for the first time, but she's also finished the Dakar Rally 8 times on top of the box, each and every one of those 8 times. What are your first impressions coming here to the Erzbergrodeo?
Wow, it's really nice to be here. I'm excited because it's a huge event. I always watch in TV and I saw many videos and I was excited to come and usually I couldn't because I had other races, but fortunately this year I could come and see how it is, and maybe, who knows, maybe next year I can race also on Sunday.
How did it meet your expectations as to what you thought this place really was all about when you saw it in videos and clips?
Yeah, I think it's even better when you see here. Yesterday I could fly with the helicopter and see how huge is the mine and how nice are the mountains. And I am really enjoying the people, the atmosphere. It's really nice.
Well, Laia, one of the things I think is so impressive is your passion for motorsport and how that got started. Why did you go with motorsports initially? You could have been anything.
Yeah, it's because my dad, he has a big passion for motorsport, cars and bikes. And I think it's because it's what I saw at home, and also my older brother had a bike and race. And yeah, it's what I love.
How do you see women in motorsports growing?
Yeah, fortunately it's improving, and when I started racing and riding, I was like the only one. But now every year are coming more girls, and especially young girls, and this is really good. And I think everything is improving. Also the teams are also helping more the female riders and helping more, and the federations. And I think it's still a long way to do, but I think it's better now than 20 years ago.
Laia, you continue to impress me, and I think more importantly, a lot of the women in motorsport growth is attributed to you. Thanks so much for your time here. Have fun out there at the Erzberg.
Thanks.
She is a very impressive rider, and I've no doubt she was just scoping out this year. I reckon she's going to be racing next year. Joining us, instead of Stefan Peter Hansel, is the legend Daryl Curtis. No stranger to Dakar himself. I think he's one of the toughest riders ever to take it on. He rode 2,500 kilometres with a broken back, if you can imagine that. And I've no idea how you've done this, Daryl, but you've already got a social question. It's coming already. Ernestes wants to ask you, what, in your opinion, is the most important thing for a beginner rider to focus on to create a good base of skills?
Well, they need to go to a place close to home and start riding at least a little bit of technical stuff, you know. And if you do want to come and do an extreme enduro like this, then go to your local motorsport club in your country and go and start doing some club events, you know, and get into it.
Okay, let's get back to the Hare Scramble tomorrow. We've talked about everything that comes before it, and we've had a look at all the other people here, but the race itself, new start time. It's going on at 2:30. What kind of difference does that make for you guys as riders?
For me, it's quite good because last time we'd start, I think it was 11 o'clock, the start time last time. So you midday. So you couldn't really get your lunch properly. So now we can eat a load of food and we're good to go.
But I mean, it comes a little bit later. You're starting in the heat of the day. Does that make a difference, do you think?
I mean, it would make a difference if I was out there, but not this time.
Sorry to rub it in.
But, you know, it's so crazy about this mountain is, like, the weather is always changing here. There's just say it's sunny, and next thing you know, a thunderstorm rolls in. So, and it's always in the afternoon. It seems it starts to be raining. So that might play a key if the rain comes, because it's going to make that stuff a lot slicker out there.
Okay, Daryl, you look at it now, and the lineup this year, I don't know if it's got anything to do with WESS, people wanting to come in and win an overall title, but it feels, and until you injured yourself, like we had everyone ready on the start line.
Yeah, look, the start of WESS has made a big difference, of course. You know, we got riders like Joseph Garcia and Nathan Watson coming in. And, you know, we've been waiting for this championship for a very long time. And I think it's very welcome. And it's going to be the guy with the broadest skill set that's going to take the win at the end of the year. And we're getting guys that have come in and have had a motocross background and an classic enduro background, joining the guys that have got the extreme background. And I think it's going to make for a great championship.
Well, we saw two riders there who've battled against each other for the most amount of wins, Taddy and Graham. There's been a real rivalry there. Johnny, you set the cat amongst the pigeons when you turned up. You won first time in 2014?
Yeah, I think it was. I won 3 times, 2.5 with the joint effort between everyone.
Okay, explain the 2.5.
The year
I claim it as 3. On paper, it looks like 3.
On 3, it is 3. I'm going to take it as 3 because it's better. It sounds better, doesn't it? But that year when we all got stuck and we couldn't get up the one hill, I don't know if you remember, there was 4 of us. We all just teamed up and we pulled up. And I hope we don't have to do it again because it's always better to win on your own. And we'll see how it goes this year.
Well, that's one of the big things about this course. We said at the beginning that it's a working mine. The course changes year on year, and Carl's goal is to make sure that no one finishes, seemingly. I mean, you've had a good look. Before you injured yourself, I saw you walking around the course, Cody. How much has it changed this year? How hard does it look?
Like you said, it's a working mine, so like stuff that we did last year it's almost not even recognizable anymore. So, that changes into effect, and then also like Carl's whole goal, like you said, I think he just wants one finisher, and everyone's so good now, it's going to be tough. Like either no one's going to finish, or you're going to have a couple guys finishing. So, he added to Carl's dinner. Of course, it wasn't hard enough already. You need to add uphill at the end, and then coming to the finish, it usually was never too bad. It's like you got through everything, and it was all downhill. And this year he threw in some really nasty, sketchy downhills. So, he just makes it tougher and tougher every year. The course keeps changing. It's going to be a really good race for sure.
Let's go into those downhills for a second. I heard you say that if you get the downhills wrong, there's big steps in them that you can really go for a ride.
Yeah, I think it's not long after Dynamite. It comes into a new downhill they never had before, and from the top it looks bad enough. Then you kind of drop down in the wood, so I had to walk all the way around and check it out from the bottom. There's 2 really steep drops, and of course it drops right into a water trough. So if you mistime it and go hit it a little too fast, you might end up looking like me by the time you get to the bottom.
And pretty wet. We've had a question in from Dale for you, Johnny. Can you win tomorrow?
Yeah. I did my training and I'm feeling good, but there is 10-15 guys that are going to be really strong. But yeah, I'm feeling confident. I've done a lot of work the last few months.
Strategy-wise for you as well, I see you turn on your race face that 4 or 5 minutes before they start. The whole shot's really important for you, isn't it?
Yeah, I've had starts where I haven't been at the front. I think it was 1 year I wasn't at the front, and it was a nightmare, trying to get through. So the main thing for me is just to get a start, and I'm just going to push from there. And one of my, a weakness for me is Carl's dyno. I'm not one of the best riders in the rocks, so if I can get there first and slog my way through there, then I can try and push again later on.
Okay, we've done the pro side of it. What about the amateurs here? I mean, the spectacles, some of the images we see of people. Daryl, you commentate on it year in, year out. These guys put themselves through hell, don't they? And most of the time, they haven't got hope of finishing.
Yeah, it's absolute murder for these guys, and as you can see over there, these guys really come to the mountain just to see how far they can get, and with the hope of eventually getting at least to Carl's dinner, never mind the Grunehola and the rest that are to follow. And if they can make the finish line in their lifetime, I mean, it would be amazing. But just to be here and get off the start line for them is enough.
It looks, when you watch these pictures, it's an extreme form of masochism, isn't it, Cody?
Yeah, no, this is like the highlight for me. Is like afterwards to come back and look at all this crazy chaos going on. I mean, these guys just have true passion. They're out there trying to make it to the finish. But even for me, one of the top guys, just to finish this race is enough in its own. And at least it makes for awesome replays later on.
Daryl, you've been a part of this race for nearly all of its 24 years. How much do you think the level of the amateurs has improved?
Well, it has, and it keeps on improving. And the nice thing is that we're getting some of these amateurs coming through the ranks, and they're doing better and better. And a lot of them, they lose their amateur status, and they actually do get quite far through this track. So it's great for lifting up the level of the sport, riding with guys like these.
Okay, we've had another social question through from Alexander. What do you guys think of going again to downtown this year? Johnny, this one's got to be for you.
Yeah. No, we walked it, and it looked hard. And then a few guys have walked it, so it flattened out a little bit. And then they went and moved the markers, so now it's just straight. It was, I don't know if you walked it, you had a run-in from the side. Now it's just straight from under the bridge. Oh. So yeah, he's definitely gone to town on this one.
That sucks, because I walked it earlier and it was looking pretty good, but I didn't know they moved the markers, so have fun with that.
Yeah. I know.
So it's just a giant step into the climb.
Yeah, basically you're coming over some rocks and then you have to come under a bridge, and that was hard enough as it was, and you had to get onto like a platform to then go again, but the platform that we all put in has gone, so we have to try and get under the bridge and get enough momentum to get to the top.
I love the way that you seem to be able to maintain this positive mental attitude when you know what torture lies
it is
ahead.
what it is. We'll get there.
Matthias, I know that you were here a couple of years ago driving one of the taxis round. You soak up the atmosphere here. You don't have the pressure of the race. What do you make of the paddocks and the spirit of Erzberg?
No, I tried to win in the beer tent this night, and is
a win's a win, eh?
Yeah. And it's really cool for me because it's not really a pressure, but I can also do to racing a little bit, to doing the prologue, and in Sunday to watch these guys is really impressive because I was using this mountain a little bit for make like navigation training, for improve my rally skills because you have so many roads and single tracks, and was really cool. And I just checked the most tricky parts of the race, and it's really crazy and impressive how they can pass it. But for me, it would be really interesting if the weather is really bad, like raining. You think is it possible to pass these wood paths and this everything? Because for me, it's like I really cannot understand how is it possible, because also they have no magic tires or something like this. That is a better traction.
Well, it's interesting. You look at this side of the mountain and it's all rock and gravel and it drains really quickly, but that back side of the mountain is all wood and it never dries out, does it? It's just slick the whole time.
Yeah, it's my least favorite part of the race, to be honest. But I think the Brits really like it. You know, it's always raining at home for them, so they get in the mud. Like Jarvis gets to smile instantly when it starts getting rainy out there. So, it's so tough that, there's different aspects of the mountain. Like you said, dry over here. Carl's is usually pretty grippy and good. So, I think normally when I get in the forest, it's an all-out pushing fest most of the time.
I know one part of the entire village, if you like, that never dries out, Daryl, is the beer tables. You invented the legendary and now traditional beer table slide, didn't you, back in the day?
Sure, Ed, that was about 2006, but I can't keep up with these guys at the moment because they really raised the bar in the beer tent, and I'm actually too scared to go inside there these days.
Okay, well, we've talked about a lot of the amateurs and privateers. We sent a crew down into the paddock to talk to a few of them. This is what they make of the Erzbergrodeo.
This is a paradise for motorcycle riders and anybody who enjoys motorcycles. The energy here, the professionalism here, and plus all the riders helping each other. There's so much camaraderie. It's like bringing a family together. It's beautiful. I'm in great shape. My cardio is excellent, and I can ride the 550 extremely well. And I thought when I'm still young and I'm still strong that I should attempt to finish this race.
I love dirt bikes. I've made so many friends through Ireland, two in the UK here from last year, and a lot of Austrian person as well. Only for dirt bikes, I wouldn't have made these friends. It's the only race in the world that you get a chance to line up on the start line with the best riders in the world. That's the main thing that I love about Erzberg.
My main goal is to come at least in the 5th row for the Hare Scramble. And then when I'm in it, I want to come into the Carl's dinner again like the last 2 years. Erzberg is like the ultimate competition. When you're riding up there, the feeling is indescribable.
Well, it's just full of other like-minded idiots like us, so, it's a perfect place to meet people and just see old friends and meet new friends. Just to see how I get on, just enjoy it, nothing serious, If you take it too seriously, it's no fun. So just have fun and just enjoy.
I was enjoying myself until...
And there you have it. We're all like-minded idiots. We've got a social question come through from Eddie. He's asked, please ask the riders what their weapon of choice is, 2-stroke or 4-stroke, and why?
2.
It depends what for. If I was going motocross, I'd pick a 4-stroke. Extreme and enduro, I'd pick the 2-stroke.
Matthias?
4-stroke.
But I mean for here, what would you use specifically for Erzberg?
300 two-stroke.
Yeah, same. TPI.
450 rally.
Yep. Daryl?
Two-stroke, 300 TPI, without a doubt.
Okay, why? Why would you pick the four-stroke?
Because I want to go in the first starting row.
Yeah, it's just for the prologue still. What advantages does the two-stroke have? Just that low-end quick pull?
Yeah, basically for the long hills, you know, the 300 just pulls so good on the hills, and then you also have the power in the woods. You know, there's loads of tight turns and big hill climbs, so you need the power instantly off the bottom.
Okay. Keep the social questions coming. There are some really, really good ones. Daryl, quick one for you before you leave us. I know you've got some table sliding to do. You've got Cody in the box with you tomorrow. That's, I imagine you're looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic having Cody there. You know, he can also have the experience from our side of it and give us some insights that maybe you know, Michael and myself miss. So it'll be really great to have Cody there.
Okay, we just had another social question come through from Jokis Murph. He said, how is it not cheating getting people to drag you up the climbs? You might as well just get flown up by a heli.
Yeah, well, a lot's changed this year, so I think there's going to be a lot less helping in the forest. You know, they're actually blocking off a lot of the areas and not letting people in there, so to make it fair for all the riders. So I think we're going to see some changes this year, and I think it's going to be really good for the sport. It'll really level the playing fields for everybody.
I mean, in terms of heritage, it's part of the spirit. We keep going on about it, but it's part of the spirit of the event, Johnny, that people get helped up those climbs.
Yeah, it's cool. Half the race is help zone, and then the rest is no help. So, yeah, they come and they enjoy it. You know, the spectators, they can run down, they feel a part of it. You know, it's fun for them. You know, pulling the amateurs up. They get to pull us up. I messed up a few times last year and got pulled up early on. So yeah, it's good for them because it's something for them to do also.
Yeah, you pass that threshold at machine and then you're on your own. But up to that point, there's a lot of camaraderie. Daryl, I know you're a busy man, so I'm going to let you leave. In the meantime, though, our field reporter, Katie Osborne, has tracked down the man with the most ever wins here at the Red Bull Hare Scramble, Taddy Blazusiak.
Well, a guy that doesn't really need much of an introduction here, Taddy Blazusiak, a 5-time winner here at the Erzbergrodeo Red Bull Hare Scramble, but more importantly, all 5 years in a row. And you're suited up this year as last year we got you a little analytical side. First, how good does it feel to be walking around here in your gear?
Yeah, it's good. I retired 2 years ago. Retired from racing, walked away. I was happy with what I've achieved in my racing career, and I was ready for to do something else or to take a break. But a year later, I thought I still give it another couple years of racing before I really walk away. So we're back here, enjoying myself. We all ready, bikes ready, team's ready. I'm excited. I'm all fired up to go and try to make it happen again.
Well, you said that you are kind of excited about where you are in your journey. Your training's fun again.
Yeah.
How has that really motivated you to get back on the bike?
No, it was massive to me. It was the main thing, when I said I was done, I couldn't ride the bike anymore. I was just so tired of it. I just couldn't do it anymore. I've done it for so long, and I just decided that I was done and I had enough. I heard about World Enduro Super Series, being created, and the series itself was like a big, push to actually get back into it. And I gave it a few months. I thought about it, and then I went backwards and forwards a few times, and here we are. And I'm super excited. Things are going well, and yeah, the most important thing, like you said, just having fun, training, riding, and it's been good.
Okay, sitting out trackside last year in 2017, how challenging was it that you couldn't just go and jump on your bike?
Well, in racing, if you want to go and race, it takes months of preparation, fitness-wise and everything. But yeah, the track here is gnarly. This place is just crazy. It's like a 2-hour sprint, pretty much. We go all out from the start to finish. So it's a tough race and super technical. You need really to be on top of your game, to make it happen here. So yeah, definitely one of the toughest one.
Hey, that's all you can ask for here. Taddy, best of luck out there.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Much thanks.
Well, I'm going to put it out to you, boys. Are any of you surprised that Taddy's retirement didn't last very long?
I rode with him a lot, so no. He was off the bike for a week, and then he came to the track with me riding, and you could tell he wanted to come back. He was riding when I wasn't riding. I was racing professional, he was retired, and he was riding more than me. So yeah, I knew he was coming back.
We've got Carl Flanagan here as well, privateer. Carl, 11th at Romaniac, 7th at Sea to Sky. You're on the cusp of breaking out. You're very much a privateer, though, no factory ride yet. Do you think it's possible to do what Taddy did back during his first win, I think 2007, and come in as a privateer and take a win?
Yeah, look, I think it's always possible. To be honest with you, my goal is just to finish at the moment. It's obviously it's the hardest race in the world, and we come from from South Africa, so we come here just to finish, and the position at the end of the day is what it is. Finish for me is a win.
It must be pretty exciting, though, turning up to do the prologue and you're up against guys like these.
Yeah, of course. I've always looked up to riders like Cody, Johnny, and Matthias. We follow the Dakar also, and it's just that's the reason we come out here. I started off watching this race on TV and watching how Johnny came through as a youngster and started winning the race, and it motivated us all. So that's yeah.
There's a big prize here as well, isn't it? It's such a legendary race. If you do well at the Hare Scramble, then yeah, you've got your place in Enduro Hall of Fame, if you like.
Yeah, exactly. That's like I said, we had to finish, and there's a sense of pride that comes with finishing. Of course, it's you go home and say I finished the hardest race in the world, and hopefully bigger things come of it. I mean, as a privateer, it's tough. We're working on our bikes till late at night after all these guys are sleeping. So yeah, it's
probably
all
just had their massages.
Yeah, probably. it's all part of the learning, and I'll take it as it comes. And
well, I hope to see you in the finish area tomorrow. I'll be interviewing you if you do. We've got a lovely question here on the social as well. Big Popper has... It's not actually a question, it's a statement. Big Popper said, Matthias Walkner looked like a monster in that prologue video. Would hate to race that guy. There you go.
But it's not really a question, or I understand it wrong.
No, it's no question. He's just saying you're the man.
You're a monster.
Yeah.
Soak it up. Like blow on your fist.
No,
rub it.
Of course, it looks a little bit different when you ride with this big bike, but yeah, I get used to it, and this is also why I not really use the enduro bike, because I really know how to ride the rally bike. And sure, is like a little bit tricky condition, but in the end I have more top speed, and just on the narrow places is a little bit more heavy. But yeah, I try to push hard, and can be that it looks like a monster between these guys.
Well, I would love to see you actually riding Erzberg. I hope you'll come back, do the prologue, and then enter the main event. I'm going to put it out to you though. You've got the best non-biased opinion. Favourites for the race. Who do you see as the best podium contenders, and who do you think is going to win?
I put the pressure on Johnny, so
I was waiting for that one.
He get used to it. No, I think he's in pretty good condition, and also the last race was pretty good, and I'm always like a little bit a fan from him, and I know him from Sam Sunderland. He's my teammate, so all the pressure on him.
Okay, what about Billy Bolt? Like he's come through. He's always been knocking on the door, but it feels, and I've looked at a lot of results over the years, when someone gets a win or gets a podium, especially in a honeymoon year like this is for Billy, it just gives him that confidence to go into the next race. Do you think that he's going to be a player?
I think the PDS makes the difference. So for me, I think the KTM is winning. No, sure, Billy Bolt is also, I think, in the highest level in the sport what he's doing until now. But yeah, it's really like 5 or 10 riders who really can win. Sure, Graham is a little bit injured with the knee, but if Karl Steiner is really tricky, he can win like 15 minutes there. But well, I'm not true what I'm saying.
No, yeah, you're true.
Yeah. What do you think? I mean, you know Graham really well, Johnny. What do you think? How bad's the knee?
I honestly didn't know he was injured, but no, he's an animal. Yeah, he's got 42 years experience behind him. But he's so strong. Like he hit his leg, I think, in Lagares too. I seen this bruise. It was ridiculous. And yeah, he's finished races with worse injuries than that, I guess.
And he's the opposite of you. He really doesn't care that much about the start, does he? It's like the hare and the tortoise. He'll even start second row, and then he knows he'll make it up on the tricky sections.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. He just like comes from nowhere. He just like makes up so much time in like the weirdest bits, like where you couldn't think you could make time, he makes time.
Well, you can see a bit of it now. He, in essence, he had to learn to ride quickly for the prologue, didn't he? Just so he didn't get caught back on the second row.
Yeah, basically, a lot of people say that he's not fast, but he is fast. People say like, oh yeah, but Graham's not that fast on the fast stuff, but he is. Like in the prologue yesterday, I think he was like not even 10 seconds slower than me, who was 10 seconds slower than the fastest guys. So yeah, he's fast.
Lazy journalism on my part. Cody, I'll put it to you though. Taddy, we talked briefly about him coming back from retirement, but as a rider, he's really well balanced, isn't he?
Yeah, no, he's so well balanced. I mean, he had years of trials experience, just like Graham. But I look at Graham; he was always a meticulous, old school kind of guy, and Taddy was like this wild child who would just huck himself at anything. And I kind of see Billy now, and Taddy quite a few years ago. But I think Taddy's got a lot more experience now, but he still has that wild child in him. He's got the trial skills. He's got the intensity and the high-speed stuff. He's definitely going to give it his all.
One of the things that I think, looking at everyone, there's an incredible skill set, incredible level of fitness now. How much of a difference does the mental approach make? Like the idea that you're just going to win at all costs.
I mean, every time I go out in the starting line, I kind of look down the row each side and I just say, I got these guys covered, but everyone else is probably thinking the same thing to themselves. But, mental game is so strong. You can't look at something and be intimidated by it, because then, when you get to that part of the race, you're just going to fall apart. And that's probably what happened to me last year. Next thing you know, I picked it back up and pushed strong to the finish. So mental game is, we're all so close that a little bit different tweaks here and there depending on style, but the mental game is super important.
A lot of people have got you down as the favourite this year, Johnny. What do you think about that?
I think they're right. No. Yeah, it is what it is. It's racing, there's so much can go wrong. If you hit like a rock with your gear lever, you break it off, then you're stuck in first gear or something for the rest of the race. So yeah, there's so much factors play a thing in winning the race. But I'm feeling really good, and hopefully I can go out there and I'm kind of looking for the WESS Championship as well. So I don't want to go out do something stupid and not get like a top 10 position. That would be stupid, because this is extreme and this is my sort of discipline, whereas next week we go to France, and for me to be in the top 10 there, I'll be really happy.
How much of you is thinking about the WESS series and how much is thinking about just Hare Scramble?
Yeah, now I'm thinking about the WESS, but as soon as I get on that line tomorrow, then I'll probably forget about the WESS and I'll just be going for the win.
Okay, we've got another social question coming. Fred has sent a question in for Carl. What would be your main advice for riding the Erzbergrodeo?
Well, for me it was to get a row one, be on the first row for the start, because for anyone trying to finish from anywhere further back, it's obviously makes it a lot harder. So if you can be on the first row, I'd say that's the biggest advantage.
Pin it in the prologue and then go for the whole shot.
Yeah, that's it.
That's sound advice. Now we've got a new piece of technology on the broadcast tomorrow. It's our special amateur feed. Obviously we'll be following the front runners, Johnny, Graham, Taddy, whoever's up there, Wade Young, Travis Teasdale, but there'll also be the amateur feed that you can open up. It'll be a small screen that will sit alongside the main feed, and it will show you all of the big climbs, Vasselleitung, Three Kings, and you can go and watch all of your friends if they're entered. If they've made it into the main event, then it's our second channel which will cover all of that action, and I promise you it will be just as, if not more, entertaining than the big boys. That's one for you to watch, I'm sure, Cody.
Yeah, I'll be enjoying that for sure, and it's awesome. Maybe there's a point in the race where there's not much going on with the big time players, and you can check out all the carnage on the small screen, and you know, once those guys start battling again, you can watch what they're doing.
Okay, well, I'll be looking forward to listening to you in the booth. Thank you all for joining us. It's been very insightful. We will see you all tomorrow at the new start time of 2 p.m. Race starts at 2:30. For now, though, we're going to leave you with all of the best bits from the Erzberg Rodeo so far.